Hey there, everybody. It's been a while. I know. God, I think it might even be about a year since I've uploaded a proper video onto this channel. And I do actually feel really bad about that. There's a number of reasons. So, on the off chance you follow me here but not anywhere else, I was laid off from my job back in July. And I, as a result, now actually make my money off of my online endeavors. But that meant putting a very heavy focus on Council of Geeks, which is the channel that my Patreon backs and is also the largest channel I have on here. So I have spent the last year building something sustainable, something that can and has been paying my bills. And in addition to that, I published a novel. Link below if you feel like checking that out. So I've had a lot of stuff on my plate. Another reason, and this is a sort of a sidebar to what we're going to be talking about today, but another reason is that I have really not felt up to putting on full makeup. Now that might seem odd to you if you watch Council of Geeks, but the thing is, the most makeup I put on there is eyeshadow, lashes, lipstick, blush. That's it. I don't do foundation anymore. The only time I've done foundation within the last year has been for shows, for performances. And in my head, I still had to do it here because I've always done full makeup and foundation here. But I just don't enjoy doing it. Now, if I've lit this properly, you should not be seeing any beard shadow or visible stubble, but you might. And if you do, that's just what it's going to be. Not only because I've gotten to a point where I kind of hate foundation, it's also really irritatingly hot today. So I definitely wasn't going to put something on that was going to tick me off, take me out of the mood of shooting, and then melt off my face live on camera. So this is what it's going to be. And the fact that I am actually kind of okay with the idea that maybe this isn't as perfectly smooth as I would like, or how I might be able to fake it to be under other circumstances, is part of what I want to talk about. And that's my current sense of self and my relationship with dysphoria. Now, dysphoria is a topic I've talked about a few times and ended up becoming a big issue when a significantly larger YouTuber decided to completely misunderstand the point of one of my videos. No need to rehash all that, though. But I have said in the past that I don't really consider myself to have dysphoria. Or at the very least, the degree to which I have historically experienced dysphoria has been so minor, especially compared to friends who matter deeply to me, and seeing what they go through with their dysphoria and how much that impacts and ripples across their life and damages. I look at that and go, that's not what I have. So whatever mild discomfort that I have historically in the past felt about, for a while, wanting to present more feminine at the day job back when I had it, and then eventually starting to do that right up until the point that they fired me. But more to the point, to whatever degree I have dysphoria, it's never been a propellant force in my gender journey. I did a whole video talking about that. So even if I'm going to accept that to some degree I experienced dysphoria in that, say, at this point, I use she, they pronouns, and I no longer use he, and I ask that people not refer to me that way, I do feel a twinge when I hear myself referred to as he. So is that a form of dysphoria? Yeah, that's some minor social dysphoria. But that is something that has evolved over time, and that kind of thing wasn't what propelled my gender exploration or my eventual decision to go on hormones, which I've been on estrogen over 1.5 years now. Oh, that's crazy. Also wonderful. But I had an experience earlier this summer where I did feel dysphoric. And so I want to talk about what that experience was, and then sort of go beyond and talk about the things that it made me think about after that. Now, I'm not going to go into a ton of specifics on this because privacy and personal details. Long story made short, I had to go south. I traveled to a southern state, which I'm not going to name, to assist family. Now, everybody's fine. It wasn't a funeral. No one was sick. Like, everybody's fine. There was just something that my help was required with that put me in a part of the country where, frankly, neither I nor the other people involved, who are well aware of all this about me, felt it would be safe for me to present as myself. So I did a number of things that I either hadn't done in years or hadn't ever done before. I found an old pair of metal wireframe glasses, so not a hint of femininity on my glasses frames. I had my hair always pulled up tightly in a bun, tight enough that it was hiding the fact, for the most part, that it was dyed. I took out my earrings. I mean, these ones I didn't, but I took out these earrings. No makeup. And I wore this. This is a binder. Now, I'd actually bought this for the purposes of cosplay, for times that I want to get, because since these are mine and attached, me wanting to get a little more gender fucky used to simply be a matter of, well, I won't use the breast forms here. Now I actually have stuff that I need to clamp down if I want to do that. So that was why I owned this. And I had not yet worn it. But I did for this, to give myself the appearance of a masculine chest and wear very boring t-shirt, jeans, sneakers, and even my fun masks. Didn't even wear those. Got boring, white, plain masks. Because it just seemed best to remove any indication that I was anything other than a cisgender male. And it felt awful. It felt terrible to do. I hated looking at myself in the mirror. I remember coming out of the bathroom stall after I'd put this on and swapped out masks and got my hair back. I came out of the bathroom stall and looked in the mirror. I've never had the experience before of looking in a mirror and going, that's not me. I've had the experience of looking in a mirror and thinking, this is not me at my best. Or maybe this isn't who I want to be. But I've never had a disconnect of flat out thinking, that's not me at all. But I had it. And knowing that all these things were gone from me. And it's not like I need all of them all the time, but to have them taken away because it wasn't safe, and to feel like I had no choice. To feel like I wasn't choosing to present this way, but that I had to present this way. I haven't felt like that at all in a long time, and it's never hit me the way this hit me. And I think for the first time in my life, I dealt with a bout of what I am comfortable to say was something more than just mild dysphoria. I hesitate to call it severe because, again, I feel like my frame of reference isn't good on that. But it was really bad. And I was bummed out this entire trip. Nothing to do with why I was there or the people I was around who know me and love me, but I was still bummed out the whole trip just by virtue of not feeling like me. Now, this begs an interesting question, because if I used to say, and I still say that previously, at earlier points in my life, I didn't really experience dysphoria. But now, several years into a full hormone regimen, and having lived very openly and publicly, and have, I think now, being done coming out, I think I've come out in every area of my life at this point. I don't think there's anywhere left for me to come out to, short of meeting new people for the first time, and if they have questions. then why, when I'm the most open, the most, on a normal day, happy with myself, why am I experiencing dysphoria now? And if I am, is that a bad thing? Because dysphoria, it ain't good. It's not a good thing, and it's certainly not fun. I can now attest to that more openly. And I didn't used to experience it. So if I've changed my life in a way that I'm now experiencing an unpleasant feeling, is this all a mistake? Have I damaged myself? No. Of course I haven't. But it's a question that I found myself thinking about, not because I ever at any point thought the answer was yes, I'd done damage to myself, but because I thought it was a question worth knowing the answer to and why. And in many ways, this ties into the similar ideas that I talked about in the video that I mentioned earlier about being trans without having dysphoria be the driving factor behind those choices. Because ultimately what I experienced was the removal of things that bring me joy. So while dysphoria has not been something in my life prior that has been pushing me in a transitioning direction, I have, and I've talked about this, been happier with myself, with my presentation, with my life, as I have moved forward in this journey. So for me, I didn't experience dysphoria previously from a sense of, oh my God, my body is wrong, I have to get away from this and find out what's right, which is a very common experience for many, many, many trans people. It just wasn't my experience. So I didn't have that. And since I didn't, that dysphoria didn't push me forward before. But I have said, this transition makes me happier. I have gender euphoria. I am happier with myself and how people see me now than I ever was at any point in my life. And that's despite things like the fact that I'm currently the heaviest I've ever been. So by some measures, like, I should be really annoyed, but I'm not. And what happened when I took this trip was that happiness was taken away. Again, much like how my transition has been fueled by a euphoria and a sense of being happier moving along this path, the sense of dysphoria that I got was from feeling that euphoria taken away. So my life is better, and I am happier. Because if I wasn't, then it wouldn't have hurt when all those things were gone. I wouldn't have felt wrong and less and hidden and unseen if my life wasn't already better. It's a bit like you've been in a job for a while, and the job's fine. I mean, you don't love it, but most people don't love their job. And you do it for a while, but then you get an opportunity to do something else. Yeah, maybe it's a little similar, maybe it's very different, who knows. But you go and do that, and you're like, oh, this is so much better. This is a better working environment. I like the work itself more. This is such a better fit for me. I'm so much happier in this job. If you then, for whatever reason, had to go back to that earlier job, it wouldn't just be, oh, well, this job's okay, it's fine anymore. Because you would feel the loss of having done something better, and now you had to regress. I can now say I have experienced dysphoria, not as a regular part of my life, but as an experience of having to remove all the things that help me feel like I'm a better version of myself. That triggered dysphoria for me. And if I have any say in it, that will never, ever be something that I do again. Because I suspect that I only got a taste of what so many people experienced prior to their transition that pushed them forward, or experience on a semi-regular basis even into their transition, or are just in a sense of not knowing where they are and but feeling bad about how they currently exist. I'm sure that what I felt was minuscule. And it still hurt. And I needed to talk about it. So those are my thoughts on my first, I think at least, real proper experience of dysphoria. I don't know if this was helpful or educational, but I hope so. And I hope to get videos out on a slightly more regular basis. No promises, but I do care about this channel, and I'm sorry that I was quiet for so long. Thank you very much for listening. Please take care of yourselves, and remember that you are beautiful, you are valid, and you are loved.